Today on Broadscast, we're talking parenting and pop culture with Jill Simonian.
Broad topics, broad minds, broad hosts, but not just for broads. This is Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall.
Welcome to Broadscast. She's Kim Goldman.
I am today. I decided to keep that title.
Good.
And you're Jackie McDougall. Sorry, that was my hint that I should introduce you.
That would be me. I'm very excited about our show today. Jill Simonian is here. Whoop, whoop. And you're going to have to make out with the mic because, that's how we roll here.
Do I wait or do
I
talk now?
We don't have
fancy
jib things.
I'm waiting for a light. It's okay to talk.
Yeah, exactly. This is radio. She's waiting for her TV light. But before we get to all the fun and kick off this fabulous Labor Day weekend, we want to say a huge thanks to our sponsor, audible.com. So you can head over to audibletrial.com/broadcast, get not only a free month, but a free audiobook download, which Kim, some of our guests, their books are coming out in the next 2 weeks. Lovey's book.
Oh, I was
I'm
wait,
judging
are you asking me to remember those? I don't remember those.
Lovey. Her book, I'm Judging You, is coming out. And also Jenny Blake, she wrote Pivot. She her book's coming out, so you guys, you can pre-order using your free audiobook download. And speaking of books, somebody else has one coming out next year.
I'm screaming. That's the scream. I'm screaming. Don't be terrified. April right now.
Wow.
I'm waiting for April, and I'm freaking.
It's funny because books are like TV, where the production is finished, and then you're like, "What am I waiting for? Why can't you just put pages into a book and get it out now?"
Seriously, this is the most. Okay, you guys know how it is when you work in TV. You're literally working your butt off constantly. You're dragged through the gutter. I mean, you know what it's like to work hard, down and dirty. Yeah. Books are so much worse. I mean, it's the whole. This is the first thing I've ever attempted, in terms of the book world. It's called The Fab Mom's Guide: How to Get Over the Bump and Bounce Back Fast After Having a Baby. So it's very fast talking, friend to friend thing, little tips and tricks, some controversial, some, trite tips that I did to try and bounce my mind and spirit back after having a baby.
This isn't all about the body and being a size 2.
No, absolutely. No, that's the thing. And I'm glad you asked that because that's the first thing that people think, but it's not. This is about FAB, F-A-B, it's a big acronym. It's called Focused After Baby.
Oh. Wow.
So that's what it's about, sort of reinventing yourself and becoming a better you after you have kids instead of I'm a hot mess half the time now, but, trying to stay on that focused track after kids.
You're not such a hot mess. So you guys are listening to Jill Simonian. She's the Fab Mom, and she does 2 times a week, right, on CBS?
Yes.
KCBS. And you give these amazing tips, and I think it's incredible. So you're not.
Thank you.
You haven't blown it yet. Yeah.
Parenting team.
There's a reason that you get to write a book, The Fab Mom.
Thanks.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, you're sitting there talking about TV, and I'm like, yes, it's hard. And then you turn to the books and say it's harder, and Kim's like, victory, because she's got a zillion books, and I always hear about
the hardest part
how
with the books is that the wait. There's no immediate gratification after you're done. You turn it in, and it goes through the process, and then you're waiting, and then you're 3 months, 4 months later, oh, I forgot I did that. And it shows up on your doorstep, and you have your oh,
yes,
all right, that's what I was doing for the last 6 months.
And that's exactly what it is. From January till July. Well, I should say beginning of August, I wrote.
Yeah.
And then I turned it into the edit. So now I'm waiting to get all the red lines back.
Yeah.
This is junk. This is crap. We're taking this out. That's what I'm waiting for now. So I'm a little scared.
It's
that
funny.
was my favorite part, the editing process.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I liked that I was being challenged. I liked that I got to stick to my guns on things that were important. I liked that I learned how to compromise. I liked that I learned how to advocate for myself in ways that I might not have otherwise done, because at the end of the day, it's my name and my reputation, and I'm the one that's going to have to go out and sell it. And that was the process for me, and it was invigorating. It's exhausting because you find I joke that the editing process for me is I was the comma queen. I love my commas, and
I like parentheses.
I like
everybody has their thing.
Everyone has their thing, and so the process.
I think Lovey's a big M dash girl, wasn't it?
No, she hated the M dash. We hated the M dash, and my editors love the M dash. I'm like, the M dashes are stupid. So it's really.
You're making me feel better. Okay, I'm excited for the red line.
Yeah.
And that this is crap.
I'll be your
Got it.
editing coach. Yeah,
Oh,
I'll be your
I'm
red line,
excited.
your red line cheerleader.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
So-
but did you feel when you were going through the process, Kim? Did you also feel like Jill, like where somebody's going to just send it back and be like, "This is crap. Why are you even writing a book?"
It is the most. I mean, and you're writing about personal stuff too.
Yeah.
So you're using a very personal medium, which is writing. Are you writing it all by yourself?
All by myself.
So I
All
did
by
that.
myself,
I
yeah.
did that too. And so you're not only writing personal things, you're using your personal talent that you think you have, that you're hoping somebody else believes that you have, and then you're waiting for someone to deconstruct it, or praise.
It's personal.
It's very vulnerable. I found myself completely vulnerable that entire. There was no confidence.
drank a lot.
I did.
Then maybe that's why I'm crying a lot lately.
I did.
My husband's like, "Why are you so emotional?" Like, I don't know.
You were exposing. I
Yeah.
mean, like so much of yourself. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's like I would imagine what an actor. Well, I don't know if an actor goes through the same things, because this was like personal feelings and personal thoughts and my own words and my own opinions, and now I'm using, my writing style, and then I'm like giving it to someone, and they're like, doesn't make sense, or I mean, I
Right.
don't know if you experienced that when you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reread over and over and over and over. And then finally, a couple friends just told me, you need to stop rereading and just get through it so that you get to the end.
Right.
And I go, you don't understand. I have to go back and reread, because then I read and I say, it's crap. It's junk. And they go, that's why you need to stop reading it. So
Yeah. The perfectionist part of you comes out. And I also found that if I was writing and then I put it down and went back, I wanted to change things, but I was trying to stay authentic in the moment that I wrote it. And so that happens too. If you keep going back, then you're not letting those
then I'm ruined.
No, but I mean, but your book is different because you're giving very specific tips and you want to make it relatable, but you do have to just let go and let the editors then pull from you more things. And, there's a lot of trust.
Oh my
You're
gosh,
going to be
I
great.
want to hug you right now.
My
I
job
do.
is done
Later.
here. Where's my cape? Yeah.
This was the purpose of today. This
Yeah.
is good.
You're going to be
Thank
great.
you.
So
Yeah.
do you get that? It sounds like Jill had sent me an email before when we had reached out and asked her to be on the show, and she was like, "I'm convinced you have me confused with somebody else."
Yeah.
Like how could we ever ask an author, a Today Show,
Not
parents
yet.
team?
Not author
Well,
yet. Let's be clear.
You're writing it. You have the deal. A TV personality, like all of these things that you're doing. But God forbid you're the person we were, asking. But when you guys both write your books, do you kind of feel that imposter syndrome thing a little bit? Like, why would anyone want to hear from me?
You know what my thing is? And it's funny because, in this world, whether you're on TV or online or whatever, the word expert to me gets tossed around so much. And like, particularly for me, like with my CBS segments, initially they said, okay, you're going to be our parenting lifestyle expert. And I was like, what? I go, what do you, and here's the thing. On one side, yes, I've been doing this my kids are 4 and 5 years old. So am I a licensed expert in the field of early childhood development? No. Right. Am I living it? And have I become an expert in my own life? Yes. But the word expert to me is so weighted.
Right.
And I have a problem with people saying, oh, you're our expert. Because I'm like, no. I contribute tips that I research and glean from psychologists and teachers. No, I'm a contributor. So that's the thing that's intimidating, because people will look to you as an expert these days,
Right.
more so than before, don't you think?
Yeah. And it's funny because I have this theory about when I was working back a zillion years ago at Mom Logic, and we had parenting experts. And I said, anybody who calls themselves a parenting expert has not had children.
Yes, I know.
Because there's no way you can't get to the level of expert in parenting. I mean, I get it. If you have a degree in psychology and child development and all
Right.
that stuff, like maybe, but yeah, I would feel the same way as far as the whole expert thing. But you are, you
Okay.
because you are, that place where they can go, not because of your, just like go to a psychologist. It's not because she lived a life and has overcome mental illness or has it in her family or whatever. It's her education.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So you're being educated every single day in these fields, and you're bringing that information. So
I'll take it.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, you made me feel good too. Okay. I'm
we were
coming back
talking-
again.
That's our
This is
job
great.
here,
Thank
Jill.
you.
We were talking a couple of shows ago about why women are so quick to demean themselves and to downplay the areas that they're successful. So besides this one, were there other places in your life that you kind of poo-poo
I poo-poo.
Your abilities.
I poo-poo.
Poo-poo's been a big topic on our shows. Poopy pants. Yeah.
Let me think. I do try to. I guess the word is undercut. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that the word? Mm-hmm. I guess I do try to undercut certain things. Like if someone, here's a good one. I mean, today, literally. So, okay, you see this dress I have on. It's a tank animal print, kind of a flare skirt. So this morning,
I love that you described it because they're listening.
I know, because they're listening. We can't see. It's blue and black. It's like animal, So I walk into work and immediately someone goes, "Hey, I love that dress." And I'm like, thanks. Oh my gosh, it was $25 at Target. Like, trust me, this is nothing.
Wait, was it really?
Yes.
Wow.
$25 at Target.
Cute.
Right.
Yes. If you go, it's Massimo. So, actress and mother, Lori Laughlin's husband.
Oh, that's
I think
right.
they're still married.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. But, that was the first thing I did. And women are so quick to do that. Like even if someone says, "Oh, I like your hair today. Oh my gosh, it's so dirty." And girl, these are extensions. Like, don't even get any idea. I always you cannot give me a compliment without me trying to
I'm the same way.
refute it.
I'm the same way.
That's a terrible habit.
It's terrible.
I'll be the first to tell you I used a coupon to buy it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got it on sale with a coupon.
Yes. And remember how when I walked in, I told you guys the story about how I ordered a at-home massage, an on-demand massage for the first time, but I said it was free. Why did I say? Who cares if it was free? But I said it because I don't want to give anyone the impression like, oh, I'm ordering massages at home all day. And because I
just thought I wanted to become a parenting expert on CBS and get massages.
Oh, well, I didn't get it for that. Let's be clear.
I know.
Guidelines, legal thing. No, I didn't get it for that. But yeah.
So are you afraid that people are going to think that you have like this diva side of you? Like
that is the worst. Yes. That is the worst thing. Like in my mind. I mean, I was born and raised in Fresno, California. Mm-hmm. Many people refer to it to the armpit.
Yeah.
God love Fresno. I love you, Fresno. I really do. I'm much more in love with Fresno now as an adult than I was a kid. But yeah, my big fear is, you were always raised, you don't want to brag. You need to, be humble. You always be thankful for things that come to you and you never want to be a diva. Yeah, that's the fear.
So I'm the same way, but I like being frugal, and I think there's some strength in being frugal. So when I get great deals, I'm like, oh my God, I got this great deal. Sometimes I do when I don't care if someone buys my shirt or my pants, but if I don't want anyone to know, I'm like, oh my God, $400. Bought these. They were one of a kind just for me. But we do that a lot. Like Jackie and I, we don't know how to take compliments. We're really learning. We keep trying to catch each other, not to apologize all the time and just to stop and say thank you.
Yes.
Really learning how to do that.
Right.
It's really hard.
And to put yourself out there, I think especially, I freelance a lot for other projects, and I can call 5,000 people and ask them to support this project that I'm working on, right? But Broadscast, is also a project that we work on, and it's so hard to even like share it on my Facebook or something, and I feel like they think I'm self-promoting.
Oh no, you got to do that.
Ask people for money or sponsorship, like all of that, and you're like, oh, because our faces are on it, and so it feels so self-serving.
It is, yes. Oh, I totally
or
get
that.
That
People are
going to
think I'm just so high on myself,
right?
The funny thing is, it's like couldn't be further from the truth.
And every time every time I post something on social media, it's like cringe, hit send or hit post.
Because you have to do it. I mean,
and you're going to have to do that with your book.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I wrote 2 books in the last 2 years. One was my memoir, and one was telling other people's stories. The memoir, I couldn't talk about it. I was so uncomfortable. Jackie's like, you need to do your promotions. I'm like, I can't. It's because it's me. But for Media Circus, I was like, woohoo! I was all like, I really felt much more proud of that because it was somebody else's stuff that I was sharing, and so it was easier for me. But we talk about that even with Broadcast. Like, I'm like, I don't know how to ask. Like, it's because I feel like it's for you and I, but
But our show isn't for us,
right? That's what
we bring people on that whether we know them and we track them down like we do with you, or we discover them, and so we're bringing people in because we want to introduce the world to not always broads, but these amazing broads. But our faces are on it, so it's like I get
So you're in the business where you're around a lot of people that have to do this. Do you find that men struggle or do you ever talk about this? And then do you find that men are less willing to do this than women? Is it just a woman thing?
I think you mean like the self-deprecating thing? I think it's definitely a woman thing. In fact, were you guys at the Mom 2.0 conference in April?
No,
okay.
I wish I were.
Okay, let me tell you, I'm going to fill you in on the most important dirt that I learned there. It was amazing. So Dove Beauty was one of the sponsors.
Give people a little bit of background. So Mom
idea.
2.0 is
we're looking it up online.
because it's not all bloggers listening.
Exactly. Mom 2.0 is this conference that happens every single year. It's an incredible conference, and it brings bloggers together with brands so that you can create partnerships and work together and build your business as a blogger and a digital influencer. And Mom 2.0, obviously, it targets quote unquote mom influencers and mom bloggers. Mm-hmm. So Dove, the beauty company, was the title sponsor of Mom 2.0 this year, and they did this whole keynote speech with Soledad O'Brien from CNN and Jess Weiner, who's the advocate, or how do you say it, body confidence advocate, and she also consults for Dove. They had this great conversation about how women specifically, and it is a gender thing, we undercut ourselves, and 4 out of 5 negative comments about women online are coming from us women. So we're the ones doing it. And I mean, I'm not going to go through in detail everything here, but it really was eye-opening to hear, and it makes you extra conscious about, oh my gosh, like you said, just say thank you when someone says, hey, that's a nice shirt. Is it new? Yes, thank you. And then shut your mouth.
Right. Well, when do you think it starts?
Oh, little kids, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
And you have 2 girls?
2 girls, ages 5 and 4. Yeah.
So how do you try to, change that cycle or stop it from?
It's a good question. And it actually happened the other day.
Come on, Jill, you're the expert. So.
I know. I know. This is like the telling
Shine the light
moment.
on her, Kim.
Yeah, where's that light? Do you have a spotlight? Yesterday, my 5-year-old has this long, gorgeous, amazing hair. I mean, it is like mermaid hair. Okay. And she always, she brushes her hair and she does her hair. And lately she's in kindergarten. And so I've been noticing her, I'm not good at this. I don't like the way, literally the other day she's getting dressed. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way this looks. I don't like I'm not good at doing my ponytail. It doesn't look good. I go, honey. And right then and there, it's like, oh my gosh, the lightning struck. I said, she's 5 years old. Is this the beginning of it? And I went in there. I go, you're gorgeous. It's like,
you're gorgeous.
I go, you're gorgeous. I go, you look great. I go, and then I just humored her. I said, okay, what is it that you don't like? I don't like the way this is loose, or this isn't fitted, or that, she was saying something. And I go, listen up. I go, this is gorgeous. I go, you are a beautiful little girl. I go, and she goes, but I don't like my hair. And I just kept refuting everything. I go, do you know how many people I want your hair. I go, everyone wants your hair. I'm just saying these things as a mother, like the first thing that comes to your mind, because I'm trying to reverse the cycle that could, evolve bigger and bigger as she grows over. So that's all I'm trying to do as the expert.
So do you think that she's modeling, do you walk around talking about your hair?
Sometimes, because full disclosure, I wrote about it on my blog not too long ago. If you go to thefabmom.com and literally Google fake hair, you will see that I wrote this blog about how my hair is baby thin. And I mean, I'll show you guys here, but for those of you that can't see, I have baby fine hair, and my whole head is full of extensions because on TV, it helps if you have long hair, So I wrote about it, how I've always been so self-conscious. Always.
Yeah.
And even with the extension, I'm self-conscious. I don't want to wear extensions. And half the time I'm like, I'm just going to cut it all off. But I'm not ready for that either because of, personal issues, I guess. So yeah, she's heard me talk about my hair.
Right. So, I mean, I work with teens in my everyday life, and I often try to say things that are strength-based. And, we talk about this with our kids, with trying not to say things. And you're really good at it, Jackie, with not talking about losing weight, but just like being healthy, having a healthy body. And I think that,
Unless I'm on the radio.
What?
I said, unless I'm on the radio.
Why? What's happening?
Around my daughter, around my kids, I'm great.
It's
But
like,
on the radio, I'm like, oh, I got to lose.
No, but I think that we forget that our kids are always listening. And even when we think, I mean, my road rage, like the way I drive, like my commenting, I'm like, oh, I have to be careful. My kid is listening because I'm going to create another generation of road ragers. You know? So it's a lot of work to always
That sounds
be
like a fun group, though. The Road Ragers.
The Road Ragers. Oh, just come in my car. My son's starting to do it. But I think that we have to be so mindful, and then we wonder. That's how you got to break the cycle. Is just starting with ourselves. And we're 40. I'm 44 years worth of needing to undo. I don't know.
No, it's true. And there's something to what they did say. I think back, I'm telling my daughter, oh, you're gorgeous, but you do have to also talk about the qualities, other than the outside, of course.
Right.
Like,
You're smart.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
sensitive.
Like always capitalize
But
on
even
those.
then, there are people who will argue and say, you shouldn't say she's smart. You should say, wow, I love the way you work on your hair, or that you take pride in your hair, or whatever.
I love how you're trying to get that ponytail right in the back spot. I think I may have even said that. I love the way you're trying to do it there, but let me help you because it can be a hard spot. Right. Yeah, the effort.
Yeah,
but that's exhausting. I mean, seriously, when you've got a kid losing their mind, my son hates his hair every day. I hate my hair. He throws the comb down, and he's like, I'm like, babe, but you're committed. I'm trying to find some strength-based comments. If he's so committed and he's so focused on how he looks, and that's important self-pride. And I'm like, dude, get over it. Like,
exactly.
Because that's really at some point. That's
My daughter does that a lot, where she's like, I'm not good at, and I have instructed her to flip it and say, I'm working at getting better at. And so even just she'll say, I'm not good, and she'll stop, and then she'll say it, because I just feel like if you could just switch that mindset a little bit,
I'll give you one word. This is like the big word that changed my life a few weeks ago when I went to our elementary school orientation. The principal said, when you find your kids saying, oh, this is like real expert. When you find your kids saying, I'm not good at, just have them add on the word yet. Oh. I'm not good at writing my ABCs yet, but you will be. I'm not good at yet. Isn't that so great?
Do you think the moms of the 70s ever had these
conversations?
No,
they told us all to shut up and go outside, which
Sam's back to school night the other night, his teacher, one of his I think it was his math teacher, was talking about how they're sort of promoting failure this year in the sense that they're really encouraging kids to fail because there's so much strength in being able to overcome and achieve and getting back up that there's a lot of kids that come in and beat themselves up for failing, but the whole mindset in the last year or two has really been about, yeah, you did. And now what are we going to do with that failure? Right. And using that as a strength. And teaching.
I love that.
Yeah.
I did a recent segment about that, actually. How one of the things to put on your list for this year is to let your kid go through those stumbling, quote, soft fails that they call it. There's a great book. Have you heard of The Gift of Failure by Jessica Leahy? She's on the East Coast. She's a New York Times writer. I think she also writes for The Atlantic, too. Fantastic. Her book is called The Gift of Failure. She's a teacher, too, and she wrote about exactly that.
So this was not my intention, but it's a kind of a decent segue because I'm all about that. So in the news this past week, there was a story about... I don't care about the details. It's Cook County. Well, I don't even know what Indiana somewhere. Wherever. There was a district that is considering removing the valedictorian title from their graduation process because they think that it creates an unhealthy level of competition between kids. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I didn't. Okay, well, I will say this.
And it's a growing trend, apparently. Like, this is like not a new thing just in Indiana. This is like around the country this is happening.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to look up the details on this because I didn't
That's pretty much
see
the detail.
That. No, okay, I have. You know what I mean?
They want to create a more inclusive.
We don't bog ourselves down with details.
I haven't read the entire story.
So they want to create a more inclusive award process.
Yes. Okay, so I get it. However... I think I don't think it's a good idea to strip the valedictorian and everything because to me, it's that whole culture of let's give everybody the trophy. Like I think competition is a good thing. And I think if you have those aspirational posts at, like a valedictorian or so, at different, or, there is a winner. There are winners and there are not winners. And I think that those aspirational things are good things because, when you don't reach that. I mean, there have been plenty of things in my life that I aspired to and I didn't reach it, but you do learn how to be resilient through those things or find another route or realize, you know what? Hey, I'm still great, even though I didn't get the title or whatever it was.
Yeah, I talked to my son about it, and he said, well, if they take that away, don't people become lazy?
Yes.
And my son's 12. And
Good for him.
I know, but that was his feeling. And he
Yeah.
said, well, if they're focused on that, are they not focused on their future? And I said, well, the belief system is then if you're focused on your grades and you're pushing and you're achieving, that you then get a better GPA that puts you in a better school, that then puts you closer to what your end all goals are. And he said, is that how it works? Like, I mean, in his mind, it made perfect sense to leave the valedictorian because that's what kids want. And how could that be a bad thing for people to be wanting to work hard?
Well, it's true, because if you're in that top, let's say the top 5 of a graduating class, you're a pretty good student, so keep pushing for that. You may not get that, but you will. Like you may get into the school that you wanted versus the school that your backup school. So it doesn't seem, I mean, kid number 99. Yeah, that was me. Out of 348. Yes, I still remember that. Although I forgot to pack my kids' lunch.
Amazing.
Yeah, sad though. I'm so average. I didn't like school. But anyway, my point is, like, I'm not going to get all stressed out about valedictorian because I'm not even close. So we're talking about the top 10, kids. So 10 kids but let's be honest. If you're valedictorian, 5 of those 10 are probably being pushed really, really hard at home that aren't necessarily natural self-starters.
See, so that to me is where the unhealthy competition comes from, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think that kids that have that natural instinct to be competitive and that work hard. And I mean, what I said to my son is I think that it's a great thing to strive for, but I think there needs to be balance. I mean, one of the things I see with my kids is the burnout. Like, my kids that I work with are so exhausted from being pushed and having 7 AP classes when they're freshmen that they don't know how to be teenagers. They can't communicate. They don't know how to socialize. They've never liked or been allowed to like another human.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play sports, which again, for some people is fine, but there is an element that there needs to be some healthy balance. And so that wasn't the purpose of the article or why they were removing the valedictorian. But to me, that would be where the struggle would be, in that there's kids that are naturally being pushed into something that may not feel right for them.
Right.
Because of competition among parents.
But do you think, I mean, here are these kids who are getting pushed, these tiger moms they've talked about, but, and I have to say, as my oldest is 12, he's in 7th grade. And as he entered elementary school, like, I've been very like, is your homework? I would check everything. And then his brother's just 16 months behind him, sister's another 16 months later. And so as I've gotten to her, I'm a lot less, well, first of all, she's the most amazing self-starter, but, I'm not as on top of them, because I realize that, say your child does get all A's, right? Mm-hmm. And then they go and they're valedictorian, and then they go to the best school that you think, then what? Like, what's the point of, I mean, you can be successful in this world now in so many ways without having to be that book person.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you too. And it's interesting because even in the last year, I myself have found so many things that I thought I was going to, adhere to and believe and all that stuff. I've changed a lot. And I think, I mean, my girls are so young, but it's like, I feel like it started with the kindergarten thing and the homework thing this year. Like,
right.
because I love our school, and they don't give homework in kindergarten, and they're very practical in the way that they think about homework with children and stuff. But it's that, the pressure of, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do it? And I kind of started doing some of that. Like, if she would bring home things, I'd be like, wait a minute, this is half done. What's going on? And then I would think,
finish this up and turn it back in.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, she's 5. Wait a minute. And then you read the research and you read about what psychologists and neuroscientists say about kids and brain development. And they say, like, you cannot put that kind of pressure on your kids at such an early age, because they're going to bomb out.
Right.
But how do you help a kid that wants to do that? I mean, if there are kids, that's where they gravitate. They're not sports kids, they're not art kids, they're not computer. They love reading. They love books. They love learning.
That's good.
Right. But you still, at some point, you still want to encourage your kid to be the best at what they love. And so, like my son with basketball, he wants to be in the NBA. It's never going to happen, but so I'm going to support him, and you need to work hard, just like I would with other things that he loves.
Well, because
so when
he's
it comes to
other skills, though.
Right. But I'm saying, but if your kid loves learning and that's all they're good at, aren't you going to put the
then I
pressure?
say go.
Then
Yeah,
you're going to
go
put the
for
pressure on
it.
them to be the best.
But I don't think you have to pressure them if they're self-starters
different
anyway.
kind,
It's
yeah.
a support, you know? So I think
Why
that
pressure is maybe not a good word.
But my kid would come, my 10-year-old would come home and he took a test. He didn't do so well. And then they got to do corrections, right? They usually bring the corrections home. They get half credit, you know, because that means they understand the concept. So he brought it home, but he's like, oh, I had already done the corrections and turned it in. This is my final grade. And I was like, well, wait, where are the corrections? Why didn't you bring them home? And he's like, well, we had, I forget what they call it. Like there's like a study period at once a week that they get to work on things that maybe they need to catch up on. I did it there and we all did it there. And I was like, huh, what? Because I'm like such a control freak.
Yeah.
And and it's funny because I've discovered that I want my kids to leave the house in the morning and go be the best person they could possibly be every single day and every single minute of that day. And then I realized like,
That's not real life.
kind of jacking up their self-esteem. It's not real life. I'm not the best person I could possibly be
Some
every
days
day.
are better than others, and some days are not. Yeah,
Right. And so teaching kids how to find that balance, like you were saying, Kim, but like, you know, to not kill themselves over, and maybe this is how it all started. Like we weren't the best. You know, we were maybe told that at a young age where if you didn't do something or, you know, I remember I spent a lot of time grounded for grades in high school. So mostly because I just didn't care. But I don't know. I just think that it's really important to teach the kids how to fail, like you guys were saying, how to be resilient, how to be flexible, how to, you know, give it your all, but also learn from it, and not just be the best.
and yeah.
So if you guys are just listening, we have Jill Simonian, who is Fab Mom, who's joining us in studio today.
Where you been if you're just listening?
I know, right? So I read something on your fabmom.com website, and it's that you don't encourage your girls to watch you on television.
Oh yeah.
Right. So tell us a little bit about why you.
The why that.
The why, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's just, I don't know. It's just sort of a weird thing. Well, I'll back it up. So when I started my site, I was, you know,
Fabmom.com.
Fabmom.com.
Yeah.
Fabmom.com is a weird thing from the Netherlands in a different language. So I don't know.
Is it
Like,
porn?
I don't know what. I think it's kind of like a ripoff of my site actually, and that they're trying to like sell it to someone to buy it. So my site is thefabmom.com.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I started, I started my site not sharing the names of my girls just because I didn't know the digital world, and I just figured err on the side of safety rather than, you know. So I didn't share their name, and then it sort of evolved into most pictures I post of them, most have me in it with them. Mm-hmm. It's like a digital safety thing. And then as they get older now, and now they're conscious of it, like my girls they're like, are you on the fabmommy.com again? Like that's what if I'm at my kid, yeah, that's what they say. But then the more they started growing and being conscious of it, I realized, okay, I work in media as a like public figure type of a thing where people, you know,
You're so funny. Look what you're doing. Air quote. Look what you're doing.
What I'm doing.
As a sort of a, maybe people might see what I do.
And I realized, oh, this is the type of thing. By no means do I consider myself a celebrity parent. I want to say that. It's not the same category. But I understand the philosophy behind, oh, this is my choice for life and a career, and it's not theirs.
Right.
And so the reason why I say that I don't let them watch me, and they do from time to time. I mean, let's be honest, that, you know, they'll say, oh, I want to watch your TV thing, and we'll do it. But I don't want our lives to be, you know, revolve around mommy's on TV. People know who mommy is.
Right.
I don't want that. Like in my mind, they're the stars of our family. They're the stars of our household. They're the stars of our life. Is it, you know?
Right.
And I don't want it to be about mommy. And I mean, you know, there's something to be said of supporting all of us as a, you know, every family member supporting each other.
Right.
But I don't want it to be all about me in their eyes. I want them to feel like they're the most important thing.
So how do you, I mean, that's admirable, but how do you then teach them the success of you and the strength of you? And
that's a good question.
Strength. Well, because I mean, and I understand the TV part of it, not wanting to, but like, I sometimes do television too.
Yeah.
And so my son now is like, you know, the other night we talk about every night, like, what do we like about each other? You know, what are our strengths and stuff? And my son said, Mom, I'm proud of you for, because I have something happening soon. And so he was proud of me for that. And he doesn't always watch my stuff. I don't make him watch it, but he recognizes the strength behind it and the accomplishment behind it. So that's why I'm saying, like, I love that you don't have him watch you, but how do you then bridge I'm accomplished. I'm doing something I love. And
you know, it happened. Gosh, you guys, this is not like pre-planned or anything. Everything we're talking about so far, literally, it's all, I have like examples from the last 3 weeks to like answer your question. I'm like, oh my God, this just happened.
We did not pre-record or pre-interview.
Pre-record. This is literally, okay. So a few weeks ago, seriously, so I was at my computer and they were like playing, my girls, I always send them in the backyard and we're playing and everything. And then they come in and they go, are you on the fabmommy.com? You know, I go, yeah. And then my daughter goes, what did she say? I'm trying to think to retell the story correctly. She said something to the effect of, are you in charge of the Fab Mom? And I mean, I literally kind of stopped and I go, yeah. I go, I am in charge of the Fab Mom. I go, there would be no Fab Mom, the fabmom.com if it wasn't for me. And I go, dun, 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 dun. And she looked at me and she got this smile on her face. And then I got a smile on my face because it was the first time I had ever said out loud, I am in charge of the fabmom.com and there would be no Fab Mom if it wasn't for me.
Girl boss.
It was. And I had the realization and she had the realization and she got it. And we smiled at each other and she goes, oh, and then she went back outside. But it was kind of like
Snap.
Exactly. But it was one of those things of, are you in charge of? And I go, yeah. And
But you should tell her, because otherwise she just thinks you're on your computer all the time.
Yeah,
and
I know.
avoiding her.
yeah.
You're like, there's a method to my madness, honey.
Yeah.
But I think
I
it's
bought you
age
that dress.
appropriate. You know, I think that there are age appropriate, and I love that you want to make sure that your kids know that they're the most important thing. But I also think that, you know, as strong women and working moms, I mean, I think I read somewhere that you don't have a lot of guilt over being a working mom.
Right.
And I love that you own that, but I think it's important for your kids to see that too, that like there's
Thanks.
such beauty in being a working mom or a working parent or whatever, all the labels that we attach to each other. Like, but I think it's age appropriate, and your kids have to know at certain points what you're doing and how much you share. And
I'm going to be more conscious of that. I am. Because
You're
now they're
welcome. My
getting
job
older.
is
Right?
done.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I know.
I saw the other day I was on LinkedIn and I saw someone posted a great quote, you know, just an image of a quote, and it was about women and being in charge and taking control and all that stuff, and that like we shouldn't feel bad about whatever it was about. But then in the comments, and this is LinkedIn, like this isn't Facebook, this isn't Twitter, this is like where business people, you know, connect or, you know, they try to network or whatever. And the person had said like, this is all great, but don't kid yourself that childcare is okay for kids. Leaving the office and working from home was the best thing I ever did. You know, and it was like, wow.
On LinkedIn. Maybe that person thought they were on Facebook. Could that be?
They think they're still on MySpace.
I thought it was a comment section on like the blog, but no, but it was, she got so passionate about how kids, and I have to resist myself. Like the first several years, my husband and I would switch jobs and one of us would always be home and blah, blah, blah. But who cares? That doesn't really, that worked for us, but that's not always the case. You know what I mean? And I think it's really important for your girls to know what you're doing and how you're succeeding, and that you're, you know, I think that sometimes
but you don't have to have viewing parties. I think that's what you're saying, that like, you know, they know what you do. They
pull down the big screen.
Yes. And now, how about we watch Mommy's segment from
well, maybe because they'll hear the words parenting expert and go, really, Mom?
Oh, please,
really?
give me a break. I know.
Well, my son he knows that I talk about him sometime, and I always tell him, like, I mentioned you or something, and if he sees something and I mention him, he gets like, oh my God, people are going to see this, you know, or if I take pictures, are you going to put that on Facebook? So, you know, I think at certain ages now, you know, you do get to let them have choices, and you've always been really good at that too, Jackie. That
not always. I mean, I used to blog back, and I would, you know, my daughter's adopted, and I did a blog about the whole journey before we were matched with her. And I mean, I did videos on Mom Logic of my going to visit her and then having to leave and then come back. And I mean, it was pretty public, you know? Wow. So I got to the point though that I realized that two things. Number one, I was living for content. I wasn't living for the moment. I was living for the moment I could share.
That's when you know you're in dangerous
Yeah.
territory.
Totally. If you're like, oh, I should totally blog about this, But the other thing was it felt like they were no longer my stories. They were my kids' stories. And I wasn't sure how to shift my content. And I did. Ultimately, I could talk about parenting and I could talk about certain things, but I just felt like these are no longer like this is going to last forever on there. And I don't want my kid. It already happened that I did a tongue-in-cheek topless photo on for a breast cancer awareness post.
That's fine then.
Yeah, right. But a few years ago, and so my son a couple of years ago said, I Googled your name and there's a picture. I don't know if it's you, but she's naked. Like,
did you die? What happened?
And I was like, oh my! I'm like, first of all, it was me. Secondly, I'm not naked. Like, I have a sash. But.
And third, why are you Googling me?
I know.
Yeah, why are you
but
talking
that's
about
the thing. So at that age, if he's Googling me, like, I don't need me talking about like something that's really personal to them and then them seeing themselves.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah. And I totally agree with that. I agree with that.
So, I mean, even this show, we'll mention our kids, but we don't talk about like necessarily
their body hair. Yeah. Just kidding. No, we're not doing that today. It's not today's show.
We'll make sure your son doesn't listen to this episode.
He doesn't.
Yeah, but okay. Nothing that they would feel uncomfortable with.
Somebody once told me it's once the baby stage is over, you got to curb the kid talk. Somebody told me that in terms of like blogging and posting online. Maybe not baby stage, but toddler. Once they get into school is when you start noticing, these are like their stories.
Right.
And not that you don't have a right to it, but perhaps I should think twice before.
I get permission.
Yeah.
I often ask for permission as far as like, I love this. This is hilarious. Like my son, we did this funny video. Like I like to embarrass him. And so I was dancing in the car and stuff and he was in it. And I'm like, can I post it? Because I don't want hit one of his friends. Cause I'm also friends with, we all are like the moms of their friends and stuff. And I don't need to coming back to him like, hey, I saw the video of you. And he has no idea.
Saw your mom.
She's pretty hot.
Was that a sash?
Totally. That's so funny. But I noticed earlier you were looking at our little Broad Squad Wall of Fame.
Yes, I love your pictures.
That we're going to have to add you to. And then how many like people that we've had on that you actually know? Like our friend Sarah Mazes was on.
Yes. I looked up and I go, hey, I know Sarah Mazes and I know Denisha Danielle and I know Jillian. Does she go by
I
Sheldon?
See Jillian. I see
Denisha.
I see Sarah.
And is that Parenting Hacks? Why can't I remember her name?
Well,
Asha? Is that Asha?
No.
Oh, no. Wrong picture. Asha Dornfest. I thought that was her.
Mommy Neary there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
just FYI, ladies, we're on radio. No one knows what you're pointing.
I know. I'm pointing.
Well, they know because
perhaps I should take a picture and like if you follow us on Twitter, we'll take a picture and post it or something.
But you work at Today Moms with Sarah, and you were telling us a funny story before the show.
Very loosely. Yes, I quite frankly, I haven't contributed to the Today Show parenting team lately because I'm producing and coming up with all sorts of ideas twice a week for parenting segments for CBS Channel 2. So the Today Show stuff kind of got shelved, which is cool because everything's freelance and you know how it is. But I met Sarah is that what you're talking about when I met Sarah? Okay. So I met Sarah 5 years ago when I first started blogging and we were all at this event and I can't even remember what it was, but there were drinks and cocktails and they were doing, there was like this they were making these special cocktails. Mixology. Yeah. I don't know. Yes.
It's fancy.
So and I was secretly pregnant with my second daughter. So my first daughter was about like 9 months old. So I'd been blogging and whatnot.
Having sex.
Yeah, I know, obviously. Quick. Literally. Oh, that's a whole other story. It's like, where did the second baby come from? I don't know. So then I'm secretly pregnant and everyone's drinking and I'm standing there with her and another woman and she's like, oh, these are fabulous. These are great. Do you have I go, no, I'm just having a lemonade. She's like, why aren't you drinking? I go, oh, I don't know. I'm just having a lemonade. And I'm 2 months pregnant. I'm not going to say anything that but it was just one of those things where it was like the dead giveaway. And Sarah, if you're listening, I don't even know if you remember this. Sarah's probably literally like, what the heck is she talking about? But it was she's she was one of the first people that I really met and felt very comfortable and close within this whole digital world, and she's always been supportive, and I love all of her children's books, and yeah,
she's great. But it's funny that because you were talking about drinking, and so there are only 3 if you're between the ages of 21 and 38 maybe. There are only 3 reasons to not be drinking.
Yes.
And pregnancy, addiction.
Right.
And if you're trying to lose weight.
God
Other than
forbid.
that-
God forbid. It's just I don't feel like drinking.
Exactly.
Today.
That
trying
is
to be
not-
healthy today.
Have you ever noticed
But
that?
that's
That
not
is
possible.
not
early.
why
I'm
would
driving.
Ever
I'm
be-
driving.
Why would they? Yeah. No, the driving thing's legit. But yeah, what do you mean? I don't feel like. Who doesn't feel like?
But I find that so interesting because like someone will say, I want to go out for a glass of wine or whatever, and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm trying to do this program, lose a few pounds, and wine's not really good, and then I get anxious because I'm like, God forbid I go and just have a soda water.
Right. Why aren't you drinking wine?
Yeah, it's like, why aren't you drinking at all?
Well, because you
like,
know yourself when you know that you're going to look at it and you're just going to be salivating like, see, I almost said, give me the wine. That's what I would do.
Actually,
I can't.
that's less of the issue than more like the pressure of not pleasing that person. Like that person now feels like they're judged because they're drinking and I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Like if you and I ever went out, well, there's no example though.
Wait, so you're saying that if you and I went out and you didn't drink and I drank, that you think that I would feel judged? That I would feel uncomfortable because I'm drinking?
I don't know
and you're
about you because you're pretty confident in your drinking, but
Yep, I do it very well on my own.
no, but I think some people would be like, well, I'm not going to drink alone, even though you're not really alone. Like I'm not going to have a drink if you're not. It just changes the whole
Welcome
vibe.
to my house. Yeah.
It kind of it does.
Changes the vibe.
And then the other thing too, how you were saying like, why would there, like why can't the reason just be, I don't really feel like having an alcoholic beverage? Because I think, and this for whatever reason, I feel like there's so much more like. Everything revolves around booze now.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who thoroughly enjoys going and ordering, my cocktails, but it really does. Like everything is booze, 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 booze. All the what are you drinking? Let's go drink. Let's go drink. Or maybe it's just the people I hang out with.
No, it does.
I know.
Yeah.
We should meet your friends.
It does. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's the case. And even like, Kim and I live in the same community and there are all these, events, these fundraisers for kids, these like it's constantly like to help the kids do this, and it's always drinking.
Really?
Well, the drinking helps people spend more money. I mean, that's just the truth of it.
That's
people
true.
get a little loose. I mean, you want to make sure.
I've been
That's
guilty
true.
of
Yeah.
a live auction myself.
Yeah,
But-
I ended up with
I
the Walmart ball.
worst.
For $50 the other day. I was at an auction.
what?
I was at a charity event and I had a glass of wine and I felt loose. I'm like, I need to bid on something, and I bid on this ridiculous thing that I don't need. It was a ball. It was a ball for $50. For $50.
Was that the event I was supposed to go to?
That I asked you to go to. Yeah, but it was so like even my son's like, Mom, this is great, but do you think they bought this ball at Walmart? I'm like, nah.
Probably. Well, it's the whole.
But I felt like I needed
Does the ball cook you dinner? I mean, what is?
No, it was a cheap ball. Is my point that I spent $50 on a ball. I probably
she
could
was
have-
looped.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is that whole it's the mom wine thing. Is that, I mean, listen, mommy needs her glass of wine, but that is all a very like in the last 5 years. Is it? Or did it, did that whole wine mom thing exist before?
Once again, I don't think
know.
I don't think moms of the 70s, 80s,
They were
even
smoking
90s,
and drinking while they were pregnant
but
with
they
us.
didn't talk about it. Like they
Yeah.
didn't feel the need to like, I'm going to announce that I'm having a glass of wine after my kids go to bed. Like, I don't know if it's social media or what it
Probably
is. Like,
social media.
I remember the look that I got. It was Sam's first or second birthday, and we had it at our house. And I had out all of my libations, and I had wine and beer, and the looks that people gave me. And I'm like, I know you want it, and now you're just trying to figure out if it's the right thing to do. I'm like, it's a birthday party. It's okay. The kids aren't drinking it.
Right.
And all the people were like, okay. And so they poured, and they're like, this is awesome.
This was what, like 10 years ago?
Yes,
Oh, so you were the visionary.
I
So
was
then,
like,
okay, now we know.
And I was like, what's the big deal? I mean, I'm not at my gym having my flask. I'm at my house, and it's a barbecue, and the kids are in the jumpy. Like, why? But the looks
they're
that
like, Kim, this is Gymboree. Could you please put that away?
Yeah, but I mean, I know my place, but the looks that I got from some of the parents, yeah.
And you would never get those looks today because it's so like
They're
I
like
said, I
they're
just feel
looking
like
for it. Like,
They're
where
looking
is it?
for it.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't there wine here?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
this is a child's 1-year-old birthday party? Where is the?
I think the first birthday there's usually a lot of alcohol. Well,
because you get through it.
but then after that,
if I have parties at my house, I don't care if there's kids there. Like I have
your kid's birthday's
You
coming up.
gotta have a little something.
We should.
It's for us too. Like, why do I have to just drink from a sippy cup?
Right. Because they're all driving. I mean, some people would say they're all driving their kids home.
Yes,
after
but
that.
that's not my. I mean, like, I have to trust that the people I'm inviting are responsible. I mean,
Right.
It's not my job.
Right.
Well, now you're making me see. No, I'm good. I'm good with my decision.
Wine.
Bring it on.
Yeah, bring on the wine.
That's funny. Speaking of wine, we're
of wine.
going into the Labor Day weekend.
Oh.
You guys have some, and coming to the end of our show in 10 minutes or so.
Oh, gosh.
So what's up this weekend, Kim Goldman?
Basketball. For God's sakes, I can't get rid of the basketball. Tomorrow, my son has 6 games.
6.
My son plays sometimes on not a younger team, on a team that he can also play for because of his age. And so they have 5 men and so 5 boys. And so he's the 6th, the sub. And then his team, the older team that he plays on, was supposed to be 6 boys. And we just lost one. So now the younger team's going to have to pitch in. So it is a long day of basketball tomorrow inside a gym with sweaty feet and
6 games. That's back to back. That's
Yeah.
like 8 hours of
10
cardio.
to 4. I'll be in the
my
gym.
gosh.
And then
As a parenting
I have
expert,
nothing.
Really?
I have 0.
That's
no plans.
amazing.
Yeah. 0. Yes, exactly.
So as a parenting expert, if you could let
no, rewind and
no,
correct me.
as the parenting expert, could you please let the public know that when they're having a child, that everybody's going to prepare them for the baby stage and perhaps a little bit of toddler, but they won't tell you that, you know, like Kim, that you will have 6 basketball games someday, and your life as you know it in that way, you know, you'll be traveling around like cheering your kid on at flag corps.
I
you
love
know,
it. I have to. I love it. I think I'm more excited for it. I get more nervous, I think, than he does. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that I have the opportunity to do it. I get, you know, I mean, I'm fortunate that I have time to do it right now. I feel bad for the parents that don't.
Right. But on the weekends, I mean, your weekends are off.
My Sunday's
often
Sunday's going to be
shut.
fantasy football. I got my fantasy football draft on Sunday, so that's my day. My kid can do whatever heck
That's
he
the
wants.
draft day.
That's my draft day.
So Kim is a 2-time fantasy football winner.
Oh, wow.
Although she doesn't know what she's doing. If you
I don't. There's no skill in fantasy football.
You just
none.
I barely even know what it is. You just like pick it. Right?
You pick it.
you pick the different players.
Yeah.
We had a
Roll the
an
dice. I
NFL
love it.
agent on a few weeks ago, and you know, listening to Kim talk to him, it was hilarious.
It's very sexy, though, isn't it? See, that's part of the. I'm single, and so part of the reason why
okay.
fantasy football.
You
Now
outed
we
yourself
know.
today. I didn't. Say, just for the record,
what?
I usually tell everybody that you're single, and today I was good, and you said it.
So yes, so no, I find that I know what I'm talking about, and it allows me to have different conversations with people. I still don't have a date from it, but it does allow me to kind of know. And
Well, maybe
you know,
now that everyone knows you're single,
everybody
that
knows. Everybody knows.
Oh, I love it. Well,
She's like, now maybe no one's ever heard it.
Today,
We'll literally go on any sort of air, and I'm like, excuse me, world, Kim is single, and I say it because she's so damn amazing and like gorgeous and fantastic.
That's what I am. Yeah.
And that I just, you know, if you want to be single in life, like, great. But if you don't, and you're open to love and you're open to a partner, you need a friend like me to tell the world that you're single. See?
Okay, so going back to parenting expertise,
Oh,
in a second.
Lordy.
So let me ask you this: so one of my staff members has. Thank you, Jackie. By the way, one of my staff members has a little girl and a little boy, and the boy loves to throw the ball around the house, and so the dad's like, "Oh, great, let's get him into baseball." Mom's like, "No, please, I can't stand baseball." So my question to you is, what do you do when you have a kid that loves something that you are like nails on chalkboard, fork in the eyes? Like, how do you? What kind of tips would you give that parent that is like, I can't do another day of this, but the kid's like, please, more days?
oh, it's gosh. Okay, well, here's what I'm living. I always turn it back to myself because I go through this. My older daughter is in gymnastics. Now, when I was young, I did tap, ballet, jazz, you know, like dance competitively, did all the dance competitions, all that stuff, and I loved it. Like singing musical like that. You know, when you have a love, that is your love. And you know how happy you are doing that. And I always think back. And so my daughter now I started her in gymnastics class. And gymnastics to me, gymnastics scares the hell out of me because any false move and your neck is cracked open. Like, it's scary. but she loves it so much. And I don't like sitting there, honestly, but she loves it. And so I always think back, I go, okay, if my mom would not have let me dance when I was little, I would have died, emotionally died. And so I have to always turn it back to myself. If my parents hadn't let me do what I needed to do that gave me happiness, I would have emotionally shriveled. So that's what I would say. You got to think about, I get the baseball thing, but you have to think that's the hard part of being a parent. That's the hard part. You have to put other people before you.
And just think, on the bright side, it's not having a child who would like to be a singer who has a terrible voice.
Right.
I don't know one or anything. I would never out anyone in this house, but oh my Lord. And it's like, oh, we should do some singing lessons. Oh no, I'm good. And I'm like, okay.
Let's do them together.
But but it is that. It's that's the hardest part. Everyone says the hardest part is taking care of these kids' needs before your own, but that's part of it. It's easier said than done. But
do you have one piece of parenting advice that was given to you when you became a parent?
Yes.
One good nugget, because we have 4 minutes left. Handle it.
My mom growing up, handle it. I can't handle it, but I don't have handle it.
Was your mom Olivia Pope?
She is fantastic. Those are the words. Handle it. Figure it out. And then I personally like the incarnation of stupider people than me have done this. So that's what I always go back to.
You know what? That's brilliant. We're going to put that one on.
Use it.
Stupider people.
That's a good one.
So what about some bad parenting advice? Did you get a lot of that you know?
Oh, let me think.
Do people feel like, as the parenting expert, I'm going to keep saying it on air, that they should tell you their parenting stories? And you're like, oh my gosh, please stop talking.
I would say the only piece of bad advice that I think I've gotten through, media or online or even in real life is when people say, just let them do whatever they want. No.
Right.
No, you don't let kids. I mean, come on, honestly. Oh, they're kids. It's okay if the 10-year-old is standing on the couch and jumping off of it and breaking your thing. They're kids. No, that's not. Right. That's bad advice.
Yeah, somebody had said to me when my kids were little, begin as you mean to go on. So sure, it's cute as a toddler, jumping on the couch. But do you want your 10-year-old jumping on the couch? Because you're like, yes, no. All of a sudden the rule changes because they're at a different age and it's a lot harder. So it's if you have something that ultimately you don't want, the certain behavior, then don't think it's cute when they're a baby.
Right. That's good.
Don't encourage that.
That's good.
Yeah. So I wish I had done a little more of that.
I'm it's sure hard. You're fine. I
think it's hard to be always in charge of being a good parent. My son and I, our deal is that we're both learning this together and we both have to be reasonable. And just because I'm older doesn't mean I always know the answers and I can't always expect you to know. So we're going to do this together. I'm ultimately in charge, but I want to encourage that my son has a voice, but then I also got to trust mine.
Right.
And so my dad told me when my son was first born that he's coming into your world. You're not coming into his. And that was really helpful when he was younger because I still maintained my life and my sleep schedule and I didn't do the co-bed thing.
Right.
But I brought him everywhere. I socialized him. And I think that my son's a pretty socialized, nice, well-behaved kid.
Oh, yeah. When we first met, your son was,
he was with me everywhere.
Maybe 6 and he was he would just go with her. If she had a meeting and she didn't have childcare or whatever, or an event or something, there he was. But
I believe I believe in that too. They are coming into your world. That's how. But see that that's a prime example. You were. I don't want to say in charge, but he did come into your world, and that's how he's learned because you've guided him to behave certain ways and everything.
Yeah. But I think things have changed. I think parenting, at least in my experience in the past, was more of a dictatorship, and that parenting has kind of opened up a little bit to give kids a voice. Let's just hope it or keep it from going too far.
Right.
Where the kid, because I tell my kids are like, but you're my best friend. I'm like, I'm not. So this is why you need to, because I love you more than anything in the world, but I am your mother. you know, and that means it's different from a friend because I'm never going to be, when you're in your 20s, I'll be your friend.
Right.
But right now,
You got to earn the
no.
friendship.
Yeah. I can't believe we have to go.
We do have to go.
I know. I was so scared to talk. I thought, oh my gosh, timing. They're going to have to say, and we're done. So that's why I wasn't talking too much. Okay.
So tell everybody out there where they can find you, Jill.
Okay, so I'm
Fab
on,
Mom.
oh my gosh. So my website is thefabmom.com. And I'm on Twitter at Jill Simonian. I'm on Facebook at Jill Simonian, parenting and lifestyle personality, something like that. I'm on Instagram.
And you're on CBS.
Oh yeah, I'm on CBS. That too.
Yeah.
I'm on CBS Channel 2, Los Angeles, every Wednesday night on the 5 p.m. news, and every Friday morning at 6:45 we do parenting lifestyle segments.
So you were already on the air this morning at
I was. I woke
6:45.
up at 4 a.m. I
In your
did my
sassy
hair.
print dress.
I did my sassy $25 Target print dress. And then, yeah.
That's funny. Well, we're very happy. And we'll put all those
Thanks.
things on broadscast.com as well.
Awesome.
Or you can subscribe on iTunes and Kim and her subscribe and automatically get our stuff downloaded. But thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Or, yeah.
Peace outie.
Have a great holiday.
You're listening to Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall. They're huge in anywhere other than somewhere that you've been before.